February 27, 2019, and the special meeting of the Greensburg Plan Commission is called to order. At this time, I'd like to ask everyone to silence any electronic devices. To comply with Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the city requests that participants in this meeting complete a voluntary, anonymous survey that is available on the table in the back corner of the room. At this time, I'd like to ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
John, would you please call roll?
Roy?
Present.
Amy?
Present.
Steve?
Present.
Kevin?
Present.
Tom?
Present.
Mark?
Present.
In your package, you have the minutes from our last meeting, which was November of 2018. I'd like you to take us a minute or two, read them.
And Phil?
Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies.
The minutes indicate 11:10. I think it's actually 11:20.
Do you have any other additions or corrections to the minutes? Having heard none, I request a motion to accept the minutes with the amendment to the day.
So moved.
Have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes approved.
I abstain.
We're present. Okay. Under new business, election of officers 2019, doesn't need to ask for a motion to suspend the meeting for you to do the officers, correct? Well, I'll turn the meeting over to Chris for election of officers 2019.
Select president, vice president, right? Since we already have.
Yeah.
I'll nominate Kevin for president. I'll second. Motion to close nomination for president. Good job.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
So you're all right with that, right, Kevin?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Too late now.
Need to open the floor for nominations for vice president.
I'll nominate Jamie.
I'll second.
I'll move nomination to close.
I'll second.
Thanks.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Just we asked if you want to be vice president. That's okay.
Yeah, it got a backfire on you, didn't it?
Yeah.
Be back with you.
And I, thank you. And then, John, you willing to be secretary for coming year?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, first item on the agenda, replat 233 West 4th Street. Kathy, thank you.
Hey, good evening. We have a request for you. To replat 233 West 14th Street, which is a part of Commercial Club. This is right a block east of the water plant. And a few months ago, they had a garage fire there. If you guys saw the pictures, driven by. Christy Gard is present representing the proposed buyers. And what they would like to do, as you can see, is split the lot exactly in half. Am I correct, Christy?
Correct, yes.
So each lot would contain 9,000 square feet. There would be a 10-foot driveway easement on the, I gotta get my bearings straight here, on the west side of the property. And along with that, they would have to have a utility easement somewhere in the back. In your booklet there, I included a copy of a survey that was done, and I'll put that up here as well. That was done back in 2002 of a lot next door. The problem with that was, number one, access. There was no street frontage. The alley is not well maintained. It's just grass and stands of water. But nevertheless, they had problems getting water and sewer. The only way to get there was from the back of the property through the alleyway. So as you can see on that survey, there is 2 different easements for utilities. So that would also have to be done in conjunction if they were to split this property. If they split this property, that would, and they had to have easements, hopefully they could have it in one easement. I don't know if that'll work or not. It just depends. Of course, you have to have your separation as well. So either you have to have the line 10 feet apart or the depthness, either way, to have them both in the same easement. So, you know, would they have enough room to build because of setbacks, et cetera? Along with that, that would be another issue. Other than that, Christy is here to answer any of your questions. There was an unsafe building order issued to the gentleman regarding his garage. That went out certified mail. That mailing came back to us, and then it was turned over to our attorney, Mr. Tebby, and he sent out a letter, and I don't believe he had any response from that property owner as well. So, and getting ready to turn it over to him to file legal proceedings, then this application came in. So the current realtor for the owner was aware of that. The owner did call me, told me he was unaware of any letters, he did not receive any letters, and then hung up on me. So Christy is also aware of all this, however, she's representing the buyer, not the owner. So I don't believe anyone is here representing the property owner. So, Christy, you have anything to add?
Just to give you some background information, and I have his permission to tell you, it's Bobby Pierson is the builder on this. Bobby's built many, many homes throughout our area here, New Point, over in the Batesville area. He's interested in this lot because, again, the house that's there now, from the exterior, you can see that the garage did catch on fire. If you tour the inside of the property, there's also been substantial damage to the inside of the house. I believe a kitchen fire. It's marginal on really how someone's actually living in there, to be quite honest. The seller, to my knowledge, is still living there and does have a lot of health issues as well, which Kathy and I were kind of discussing may have been why he wasn't aware of some of these mailings and notifications. Going back to the purpose of this, though, is it would be in the builder's best interest, and obviously, if he could split the lot, he would like to build 2 homes on there. He will put in a paved driveway so that there is appropriate access. He's not going to do anything like with gravel or a yard type access back to there, which is exactly what the property to the east of it has in terms of its access. There'll be simple vinyl homes, about 1,200 square feet. They're going to be 3-bedroom, 2 small bathrooms, and a 1-car attached garage are his plans to build on each one of those. The existing home and the existing shed will be tore down, demolished, and completely removed, obviously by his cost. I think that's really all I have, except for if you're interested in knowing, he would like to face, the house would face, that would be in the back, would be facing the west also, just to kind of give you a perspective of his layout. He's done the drawings, and he says the way that he could build the 1,200 square feet definitely fit in with all of the city's requirements in terms of setbacks and your appropriate barriers that would be involved.
Any planning commission members have any questions of Christie? the audience like to speak to this petition? State your name for the record, please.
Marcia Ryle, homeowner of 305 West 4th. I'm right next door to it. We are concerned of it. I want to express my concern about the building, or they want to replat the property. If it would be approved, it would allow excessive traffic, unneeded land disturbance, and private nuisance that may turn into a public nuisance depending on the type of business. We've kind of heard through hearsay that they're also wanting to put a business on this property, so whether that's true or not, we're not sure. We have a lot of trouble with the traffic flow right now from our driveway goes, the picture's not up there, but it goes clear back to where this property would be built. We have so much traffic that pulls in there. They use our driveway as a turnaround. The backside of our land, when it just floods, so we're kind of concerned about the water drainage, what they're going to do with that, and the driveway system. We've had to put up chain links along there because of the driveway that people think it's an alleyway. So our concern is how they're going to get to it. The back is a grass. It's all rutted up now from people trying to get going through there. The back part of the alley is always flooded, so we're worried about that. The ambulance has a hard time seems to pull in to Mr. Morris's house, which is the owner, and then the house that sits back there. The ambulance can't find the house already that sits back there, so they pull into our driveway. So I think it's going to be a problem of trying to find it, but we're more worried about the driveway issue and being up against ours. We're worried about the water and sewer and the emergency vehicles and the excessive driveway usage. So we hope that it's voted against. Except we're not for it, so we hope it's voted against.
Thank you very much. Any members have any questions?
This is only zoned residential, correct, Kathy?
Yes.
That would address the business street.
Does anybody else from the audience have anything to say in regards to this petition? Okay. Gentlemen, what do you, Tom?
And they would fully understand if we did this, that if they didn't meet any of the setbacks, all of the setbacks, that they would not be allowed to build. Allowing them divided into two properties doesn't give them the right to build unless they meet all of the other specifications to build.
That's correct.
And it would have to, sewer and water and all that would have to meet certain guidelines for building also, is that correct?
That is correct.
And the existing residence would be torn down along with the
That is correct.
torn down garage.
He would tear down the existing, and he would build the first part of that closest to 4th Street there would basically go on the same location as where you see it now. And to address some of their concerns, I think the way he would put the driveway in, as I understand it, it's gonna be done clean. It's not gonna be done, like I said, he's actually throw some gravel down there and said this is the path to it's gonna be a paved driveway clear to the back. I'm not aware of the problems that they're saying that they experience.
Is this your brick house here?
Yes.
And this is your current driveway that goes?
Right.
Here. I know where.
There's a very little driveway on the address right beside us. The driveway is very small, so like I said, so they park into our driveway, and that's where the ambulance seems to pull into. They go up and they turn around. The garage back there is ours. They go up there, they turn around. We have a lot of walking through there, through our property.
I mean, I would like to think if you had two nice homes there, that, people were going to be living there, that would reduce some of
Real
that.
quick, anybody, if you have any comments, please step to the podium, state your names, so we can have it on record audio, please. Members have any other questions, concerns, comments?
But if we do this, we're gonna have to grant a utility easement to that second lot too, besides that. I'm afraid they're gonna have to cross, the utilities may have to come across, so there may have to be a utility easement agreement.
How close, is there any, and I know our ordinance, this, I guess for better, lack of better, it's a violation, because our ordinance states you have to have road, street frontage, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
So, we don't have street frontage. Is there anything in the ordinance states how close a driveway can be to a fire hydrant?
No.
Because there's a fire hydrant right there on the street that's, looks to be a light, what do you think, 10 feet off the property line?
No, the only thing that, and it's, I believe it's fire code, is you cannot park within 3 feet of a fire hydrant. So
State statute.
it's, yeah.
Is an agreement already in place with the current homeowner to knock down the home that's in place and build?
Yes.
If he says.
Yeah.
You're not gonna go the way they're gonna buy it as a food buy.
Essentially, Chrissy, the only way he'll buy it is if we divide it, right?
Yes, he's not gonna purchase the lot unless he can build 2 homes on it.
Chrissy, who stepped the podium there? It's just so hard to keep track of who's saying what without.
Yes, he is only gonna purchase it if he can build 2 homes on it.
Yes, any questions, comments, thoughts? As you see in there, there's many things we can do here. I have concern with the lots being split with no street frontage. I also have concerns with the back lots for drainage, so. I know something needs to be done with that property, but I personally think this is the right thing to do. Because if we start this one, what happens when you get 2 or 3 other properties down through there that could absolutely split too with no street frontage, so,
Or on each side of it,
yes.
looks like we've already done one or two.
On the one side, they split that one, but not on the other side. You folks own the whole lot, correct?
Right.
Got no other comments from the audience, no other comments from the planning commission, and I mean, we're to the point where we can make a motion to approve, make a motion to deny. We can request a continuation if we want to think about it more and investigate more. Or we can make a motion for one way or the other with modifications. Having heard no more comments from the audience, no more comments from the planning commission, I would entertain a motion to.
I guess, I mean, I guess I'd like to know what the plan is to handle the drainage, maybe, and that might help. Make up my decision.
Kathy, will you please approach? So that, I think that does open up your question, because on a single lot like this, there is no requirement on ours for,
It depends how you want to read the ordinance. If you, if you want to define the ordinance, it's anytime you develop on any lot that you have to have some sort of drainage plan. So in this area, there's very minimal storm sewers. So, I think there might be one out in 4th Street, but, you know, whether it can handle an excessive amount. I know 2 houses aren't going to cause a lot of extra drainage, but there's already a situation and a problem in the back, so.
Kevin, I'm gonna make a motion to deny the application.
we have a motion to deny the application, any further discussion on that motion? Having heard none, do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second.
So, Roy made, Steve seconded. John, please take a vote.
Excuse me, Roy,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Phil.
Yes.
Alright,
So it's good enough.
so replat 233 West 4th Street has been denied. Next item on the agenda is SCG LLC replat and waivers.
It's not like that. Oh, I got the wrong order, I apologize. Okay, before us, we have Green Sign Company. Or SCG, sorry. And with us, we have Kim, and I'm sorry, Kim, I forgot your last name. And Mr. Green himself. And what he would like to do is to replat, replat, and he needs a couple waivers. So right now, if you imagine, and I can't draw a straight line right through here. He owns where his existing business is at, and then this is a vacant lot right here. So a few years ago, he added a building back here, and this building is built on both parcels. So what he would like to do is, number one, replat, so we have a new property line that kind of goes down and omits his building, so it would be on his property. And then you see a little zigzag like this, which would include a proposed new building right here. So now we have a new property line that would be kind of down and like so. So, and then he would like to build a new building, which would house a few offices and then storage. This would be phase one. Phase two, the green area, would be additional storage. And then phase three would also be storage. So what he also needs is a setback from this property line, because his setback would be 5 feet. And then an additional setback for the new phase three building over here, which would also be 5 feet. Now, in doing so, when he starts to build this, he'll have to file with the state of Indiana, and fire codes and building codes will have to play into this. So there could be possibilities of firewalls in place, et cetera, with both buildings, because the closeness to this property and this building. Now, as far as being a firewall on the south side here, I kind of doubt it because of our detention facility here. And with that being in a flood zone, nothing can be built here. So reality is, because they would have a collapse zone on this side, more than likely that they're not going to require to have a firewall, just FYI. So, am I missing anything? So, do you guys have any questions? So, I mean, he might need some additional parking, depending on what type of business will go in here. So, as you can see, he has ample parking here, and then he's allowing some off-site parking onto his site. So it just depends the type of business that goes on there in here of how much parking he would need. He would have to have at least one handicap spot, but then, as you can see, he would have enough parking over here to suffice. Possibly, if it's just an office building, it's not going to require, 60 spaces, so to speak, but he would have additional off-site over here as well.
Andy, what's the current zoning of those parcels?
The current zoning is I-1, and under our I-1 zone, anything that's allowed in a B3 or a B2 must come before the Plan Commission for approval. So that's where, number one, that's kind of why he's here, is because he needs a waiver for the businesses to be in that area. also, you know, with him adding the building, he's adding additional drainage. So he's asking, there is already the detention pond here for the overall commercial, Commerce Park subdivision, which this was the detention facility. And over the years, you know, we've had issues. We went back before DNR and got permits and fixed the road and tried to alleviate some issues there. So he's also asking for waivers for the stormwater management plan.
So all of the lots in question are zoned the same, is that correct?
Every lot out in this area, with the exception of across the street, which is Aspen Place, and I believe that they own this property here as well. This is not zoned I-1, but everything south is zoned I-1.
Does Green Sign Company own all of those?
Green Sign Company owns this triangular area right here and this lot right here. This is Dorflinger Insurance, this is BMB and Child Services, and then the County School Corporation building.
What is the benefit of doing the jagged line?
Only because he realized that his building sits on the property line, so therefore he's trying to replat, so his warehouse for his business is actually on his parcel. So that's why the jagged line.
But they're not all his parcel.
Right, but you can only have, in reality, and anymore, the courthouse, and to make taxes easier, it's best if you have your existing business or house on one parcel, not two.
Could we just make it all one parcel, or is that?
You could, but you'd have to give him still the waiver to have all that on one parcel because of it being two different businesses.
The area you have highlighted in red and green, is that currently, is that grass, is that paved now?
Shawn, can you answer that?
Everything's grass, right?
What kind of storage are those buildings gonna put?
I'll let Shawn approach them, but he can tell you a little more.
Yeah.
We may be able to speak of this.
Shawn Green, owner of the neighboring lot, Green Sign Company, and this lot to the left of it, which both of them are labeled under SSG LLC. This is Kim Owsley. Plugged in. I'll go ahead and start with a little history of the thought process behind this. Originally, the land and the building, the land was purchased off of an old judge here in town that gave me an opportunity because he knew that I knew how important it was for interstate traffic and our business to grow and put our sign in a place where we could get more exposure than Greensburg because our business has a lot to do with the tri-state area. So he gave me a good deal on it. I took him up on it. I appreciate it yet today, even though my mom thought I was nuts paying all the money I did for the land at the time. But anyway, get past that. Always had the desire to build another building next to it, have a separate lot. In the history of why one building's on the other lot, I would say it would be an accident of multiple people, but I was approved to build our storage building. It was on the other lot that was already zoned before all this, so it's always been zoned two different lots. And I like to keep that way for investment purposes, and this is an investment opportunity for myself and also for the community. So started doing research. You know, I've always thought it'd be handy to have another building. I've been an advocate for small business all my life and believe in it, and I believe it helps our community as well in the town of Greensburg. So with this being said, I did a lot of surveys because the old days of build it and they will come are gone. We all know that. And every survey after survey after survey is just notorious hearing the same thing. Rent's too high. They want me to pay for an area that, you know, has all this exposure next to a big franchise store. I just need a small business. I need a small location. And so the spaces that we're proposing more universal. The front two offices would definitely be more office front, more professional. The buildings behind it, more of a construction guy, you know, a craftsman, places like that to help build.
Shawn, sorry for interrupting, but when you talk about the front, is that what you call phase one that's in red?
Yeah, so
Okay.
this is the front, and this will be facing, this is the same image just showing it through the building. This will be facing north.
Okay.
And I'll let Kim go ahead with our quick presentation here, and we're all ears for questions.
Yeah, hi, again, my name is Kim Owsley. We're really excited to put this together. I'm also from a very small town in East Kentucky, so I can relate to a lot of the growing pains that Greensburg does have. So what we were presenting to you is a micro business development, and we're kind of tagging it "A Dream Becomes Reality," because there's so many people out there with great ideas, with that entrepreneurship heart, and the biggest cap on their abilities is that financial hardship to get started. And so that's why we're going with this. Oh, there you go. Technical error. Okay.
Okay.
Might be helpful on. Please.
The engineer involved. Right, kick it. Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Thank you. So again, to touch base on this micro development, most people are like, ask questions whenever we start talking and using the term micro business development. So basically, you kind of think about it like an incubator, in that we're taking what would normally be a bigger size building, and then we're kind of shrinking it into this micro development, is what we're thinking of. And the really driving forces behind that is it's going to really increase that entrepreneurial opportunity, and decrease some of this dependence on manufacturing employment for here, which is a really strong force here. But there's so much skill and talent that we believe here that it's not being utilized quite like it could, given that they didn't have the opportunity to have these low rent spaces. And so another thing we want to do is we want to grow the service sector of Greensburg, Indiana, so that they don't have to reach out to places like Cincinnati, Indianapolis, places a little bit too far. That's going to increase the price of the service that these people need, when we have just as many talented and skilled people here that can provide those services given the opportunity. Another goal for this is to attract and retain youth and seniors interested in opening businesses. Again, when you're young starting out, you don't have credit, you don't have built credentials with loan officers and banks, so you kind of have to rely on that opportunity of, this is how much money I have, I can pay my rent starting today, but I don't have enough to buy a building. So moving on to that a little bit more. So yeah, just hitting back on this micro business development idea, it's gonna help achieve job creation. The community development, what happens there is this, when people start seeing other people succeed and chasing their dreams and like, hey, so-and-so, I didn't know that you had this dream to repair furniture. And then they see this person kind of taking that opportunity, moving into this space that's ready to go, and all of a sudden they start having success with it. It kind of inspires and creates this chain reaction of, well, I could start a small business. You know, that's pretty cool. Like, I don't have a whole lot of money, and they didn't have a whole lot of money, but hey, it makes sense. It's an alternative to public assistance. Like I said, it's going to alleviate that initial burden. A lot of people get really hesitant when they start thinking about, well, a small business means I'm going to have tens of thousands of dollars just to get started. And that's what this is going to take away from that. So let's just kind of move forward. You guys are probably more interested in seeing the building and the concept. So when he was touching base with here was, and I'm going to move up here, hopefully you guys can still hear me. So this office space here, all these sections here are going to be move-in ready. So there's no defined area. There's no, oh, well, we're setting this up to be X, Y, Z. They're just going to be very clean, blank space so the entrepreneur can move in and however they dream it, it can be. The same with these are these are bay areas. They're universal areas. They're, like I said, clean slate. So there's no real defined area or defined business that needs to move into these. And this is just part of the phase one. The phase two, like I said, this is going to take, what did you say, Shawn?
Prefer to do it in 3 phases, just so we could ensure and see what's gonna work best. And I'm really thinking phase 2 of the larger bay buildings is really gonna take off. So there could be an opportunity for that to even be in phase 3 portion, which is, if you're looking in the middle of the screen, the middle section, it's the one all the way to the left, is a lower level building that could be storage, indoor storage, or it could be offices as well. But you know, from what I'm hearing in the surveys we've performed, I think the storage areas with the garage doors are going to be most popular. And let me rephrase that, no storage for those, but more of an office front work area without all the exposure needed in a high traffic area.
These here, just to kind of give you an idea of where you're looking at, this is the back side. So if you're coming from Walmart and you're going back towards Greenside Company, this is the side you're going to see. This is the west elevation. And then once you get into the parking lot, this is what you would see. That's where the banks are. Moving along. That's the phase 3, which was that back building. I don't know if you guys remember on the map, that was kind of back in the corner. It's the same concept, open space, universal, open to the dreamer. And then I kind of added these pictures just to kind of give you an idea. The whole purpose is to just give people space to start a business. And they can define the area however they want. Now, some people get really, really creative with these spaces. That's why we're saying universal, totally. An office space might not be big enough for some of these people. They want to take on one of the bays and kind of build little office spaces within there to do whatever they want to do. I mean, you've got a lot of young entrepreneurs that are making apps for phones. They're in the tech industry these days, so they really, I mean, it's just unlimited. It's really cool. So that's our presentation of what we're hoping to achieve here.
Members of the Planning Commission have any questions?
What would be the total number of businesses in all the phases if everything was full?
If everybody took a small part of it, I would guesstimate 5 from the stats that I've taken out of this.
Could I have your name, please?
Sorry, Kim Owsley.
Kim?
Owsley. Owsley.
Oh, like the town, okay.
Yeah. Like the county in Kentucky.
basically, what I'm getting is, they're asking to clean up the property lines and the waiver of the drainage and the setbacks, because they could build the buildings on there regardless of whether we approve anything or not. I mean, as long as they met that criteria. So, it looks to me like the only thing we got to decide is if we want to let them clean up those property lines and grant waivers on setbacks and drainage.
And I guess I don't have a lot of concern or issue with the setbacks, with the line, kicking around the building back. I do have some concerns over waiving stormwater study. We have spent a lot of money in this town, a lot of money, trying to address Gas Creek, lower the 100-year floodplains. This is back there where that feeds into that. And this is undeveloped land. We're going to be putting blacktop on it. We're putting
Is there
rooftops
enough
on it.
property there to put a retention? What's that white triangle?
That's just the grass area. Prefer just to leave the grass area. And I would really like not to pave it all. It's all shown black there, but like to pave it. Eventually pave it up to here and leave that gravel. I prefer to do that. Again, we're after two things, keeping the cost down, of course, and wanting to do it right. And then the third thing comes to mind, ever since I've had this property, when we built Green Sign Company building, and I was intrigued about doing this build in 2008, 2009 too, where everybody thought the world ended and backed off of this proposal. But I've always been told that we never did need a retention or detention pond because it's all natural fall. And I do have my neighbors building, I'm not gonna say any names right now, but if you need me to, I will, in the same industry, in the same neighborhood, not doing detention or retention ponds, and also having gravel lots.
Did Kathy or Ron have any comments about the water discharge plan or anything?
To clarify a little bit, the detention pond immediately south of this site that's owned by the city was actually not constructed specifically for that subdivision. It was a part of a multi-phase project that was funded through FEMA about 10 years ago, right after the 2008 flood. And in fact, the last piece of that particular multifaceted project was the replacement of the bridge on Main Street, which just happened this summer. Our ordinance requires anytime you subdivide, regrade, build new buildings, pave, change the impermeable surface, that a stormwater management plan be developed. So this is like really any other development in the city. We are trying to be more consistent in the application of that ordinance. So it's something that comes before you for consideration. Somebody asked, could there be, I think Steve, could there be detention on site? There are multiple ways to do detention. One is underground. Probably the most economical is in a pond.
Well, that's a question whether there's enough real estate there.
There always is if the value is proportional to the cost, but you can always do something.
Do you have an idea how much land it would take?
I do not. It would require a stormwater management plan to be identified.
It'd be pretty big, it would.
What's the total site area? What's your lot to the west is what we would regulate.
I think we have
lot in question, is 1.04 acres.
The city just recently, the city is working on a project, it's about a 10-acre site. And if I remember right, it's about a quarter acre in the detention pond for that site.
So scaling that down to this, what would you guesstimate?
I wouldn't guesstimate anything because it's fool's errand to guess at this kind of stuff. Really, the way to get the answer is to do the stormwater study.
Well, that sounds to me like what we need to do is, tonight, is if we make a decision, is to let him clean up the property lines and maybe waive the setbacks and the stormwater is another issue that he'd have to meet. That we can't decide tonight.
Anyone else have any questions, comments on the stormwater?
I feel the same way Steve does, that we go ahead and advance this forward by letting them clean up the property lines, but don't waive the stormwater. Don't issue the waiver on the stormwater study, we need to have that done. We've spent God knows how many dollars in this town on stormwater. And I hate to grant a waiver that's gonna create another problem in that area.
Anybody else have any questions, Shawn? Thank you. Does anybody from the audience have any comment on this petition? Having heard no comments from the audience, no other comments from the commission, is that a motion that one of you are willing to make?
Yeah, I'll make the motion that we grant the, I don't know how to word it, grant the replat and the waiver of the setbacks, because I don't see a problem with that, but not grant a waiver to the stormwater study.
So you leave the stormwater requirement in place?
Correct.
And a special exception for the land use.
Okay, and a special exception for the land use.
Okay, so I got a motion to the replat for the property lines, waiver for the setbacks, special exception for the land use, but leaving the stormwater study in place.
Somebody clarify what the special exception for the land, what that means.
It's gonna be B2, B3, and the I1.
So I have Roy making a motion, I have a second. I have a second from Jamie. John? Let's vote.
Phil,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Roy.
Yes.
All right.
Kevin, can I make a comment?
Yes, sir.
Just like to commend, this project, because I think these are projects that we need to bring small business into Greensburg. So hope you can get everything to work out with that, because entrepreneurship is very important for our community. And small projects like this can turn into big projects. So hopefully everything will work out well with that.
We'll see if we can afford to do it. Thank you.
Just one more, Shawn? Shawn, are you familiar with the Small Business Development Center that's kind of run out of the chamber as well? That might be something you might want to consider to partner with in this case. They might be able to help find entrepreneurs to help you fill those spaces.
Okay, appreciate that. So if I understand it right, it's basically, is it tabled for the drainage, or is it just can't be done without the drainage?
You gotta do the drainage study.
Have to do the
Just
drainage.
drainage study, okay, we need to get wrong on that.
And then who do I talk to about the details of approving other things in the neighborhood, but not approving this to be the same?
Kathy?
Do it, Kevin.
Okay, 'cause it sounds like selective enforcement to me, but,
Well, I don't know what you're speaking of, but there's been nothing else brought in front of the commission to discuss. So if there's something going on,
all right,
it's not been to the commission for any waivers.
all right, fair enough.
All right, next item on the agenda, Conoco, the old Swifty station.
Nice photo,
That's a good picture.